Hi, welcome. My name is Melina, and we're going to do a review of the Sabbath School lesson. This is lesson number 4 for January the 23rd, and it's titled The Hard Way. So I'm going to ask you if you can join me in prayer. Dear Lord, that you're in heaven, we thank you for everything that you did for us this week, for the things that we saw and the things that we didn't see. We just want to ask that your presence can be with us in this moment and that we can understand the message for us in this lesson. Please guide my words and hopefully they can help somebody today. In the name of Jesus I pray, amen. Well, how was your week, by the way? Mine's starting getting a little more difficult, busier. I went back to school. It's actually my second week. I had a nice break, but I'm getting tired. I usually record these ones earlier in the week, but I kind of like procrastinated a little bit. It was my grandma's birthday, so I'm really happy for that, even though she is in a nursing home right now in Uruguay. Last year she had like a few strokes and a few heart attacks, like everything happened at the same time. It was really sad, but she's doing like pretty well right now. She's like really good. The thing is, like, because of COVID, like not much of our family can go and visit her, and you know, like she gets sad. Like she's one of those persons that she was like so independent, and she cooked, she did everything by herself. And then also we lost my grandfather while she was in the hospital, so it was a little tough. So I'm really glad that she's doing okay, and that God allowed her to have another year of life. And I'm so glad for what do you call it? Like technology, because I was able to FaceTime with her while my uncle was there, and it was like beautiful. You know, bad things happen, but you know, God is always there trying to give us a little bit of happiness, a little bit of his love, and we gotta grasp those little things, because life is tough, and if you don't enjoy those little moments, that those may be your only happiness for a few months, you know. So try to listen or to see what God is doing in your life. Hopefully he did something nice for you this week, and hopefully you realize that. Have you trusted him more, like we talked in the last weeks? Have you let him guide your life? You know, like maybe give you some advice in the goals that you are tracing right now. Yeah, don't forget to trust him. He's the one to talk to. All right, we're gonna start with the lesson. We're continuing with Isaiah. Last week we talked about Isaiah 7, like it was like half of the chapter. We're not gonna read, there is a lot to read like in the Bible, but we're not gonna read everything. I'm just gonna give you a little summary of what's going on. Remember that King Ahaz, king of Judah, he had to take a few decisions, and he felt threatened, and he feared the other, nations trying to take over Judah, and of course he may be killed. That's what happens when somebody takes over another nation. Usually the kings or the leaders are killed, so he's probably like fearing for his life, and instead of trusting God, he tries and goes with his worst enemy, technically. Like he didn't think through, and that happens a lot of times when we're in a lot of stress, we're nervous, we have due dates. We're like, oh, we don't have time for prayer, like I don't have time for praying, and then just I don't know when God is going to answer, if he answers my prayer. How many times, I pray and nothing happened, or I prayed and, he answered maybe 3 months later. That's, like too far away. I can't wait that much. So you start taking decisions by yourself, and sometimes they are not gonna be the wisest ones, the good ones. That's what happened to Ahaz. And when you start, when you get far away from God, you start making worse choices and worse things, actions. And he start he sacrificed his son, then he started sacrificing to other gods. And instead of trusting, God was like, hey, listen, this is what's gonna happen. He actually told him what happened in the past, what was happening, and then what was going to happen in the future. So he technically should have known better. And then he's like, I'm gonna help you if you trust in me, if you repent, and if you let me do it. And guess what? Ahaz said, I don't want to have to do anything with you, God. I have my own gods, I have my own ways, I know what I'm doing. King of Assyria, I see him, I know what he's doing, and he is the king, I want to learn from him, and I want to be his friend. Well, guess what? If you read in 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles 28, 2 Kings 16, you're going to see that things didn't go the way Ahaz thought they will be, or the way he wanted to. Of course, the king of Assyria was going to not help him, after the fact. Of course, in the beginning, he was like, yeah, let me take care of the king of Israel, and let me take care of the king of Syria and all these other nations that are threatening you. But after all that, he's like, I want Judah too. And he did what he wanted to. And it was worse than any other nation trying to take over Judah. So it didn't go well. And chapter 8 of Isaiah, God is trying to give a message to Judah, and tell them, this is what's happening, this is what because of the decisions that your king made, and technically you made too, because you didn't do anything to complain about it, you didn't do anything to follow me. You also sacrificed to those gods, and you trusted your king instead of trusting me. So these are the things that can happen. But God always, he gives you the your punishment. He will show you your punishment, but at the same time, he will give you hope, and he will be like, but if you do this, things are gonna become better, and I'm gonna take, I'm gonna guide your life, I'm gonna guide your nation, and things are gonna go well. So let's read Isaiah chapter 8 verse 10. Devise your strategy, but it'll be thwarted. Propose your plan, but it will not stand, for God is with us. So when I was reading this verse, there are many verses like that in the Bible, I was laughing because I in 2020, a lot of us experienced this. A lot of us, trace plans, we had goals for the 2020-2021 year. We had great plans, dreams. We're all excited about, all the things we could have become, but it didn't happen for most of us, right? And actually, that's probably for you too, but I know, like, in my case, in my experience, it's the story of my life. Every time I try to plan for something, it just doesn't happen. Like, even it doesn't happen the way that I want it. You know, like, at one point I stopped making plans because I was like, okay, you know, why am I spending time designing my plan, my life plan, at what time at what age I'm gonna have kids, at what age I'm gonna go do my masters, at what age I'm going to have a house, when this is gonna happen, when I'm gonna have that job. I can tell you 99% of the time it did not go the way. Even when I knew like everything was going the right way, like there was no mistake that my plan was going to go ahead and be fulfilled. And God is like laughing. He's like, you think your little plan there, it's good for you? Well, I'm telling you, I have something better for you, but you're not gonna like it in the beginning. True. But that's what happened to a lot of us. And sometimes when something doesn't go the way that we want to, we don't stop and think like, okay, there's gonna be a better plan for me. I'm just gonna trust God. Most of us don't do that, right? Like, we get depressed, we get anxious, we get stressed, we get angry. I can tell you how many times I got angry at God, and silly, right? But I'm like, but I'm your little one. We've been like that, God. What happened? I think for almost 1 year, I didn't talk to God. It's not like I didn't believe in God. It's not like I didn't want to go to church. It's just that connection that we had. It's like when, in my case, right? It's like when you love somebody so much, but you get disappointed and you want to show it, right? Without breaking that link. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but what I'm saying is, you know, our communication with God, our relationship with God can have ups and downs. But don't, like, if you have to yell at Him because you're like expressing yourself and you're just frustrated and you're just like ventilating, there is no like rule that you cannot do that. I know maybe you were like raised by, you know, you gotta talk to God this way, and you gotta, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't say these things. But when it's the one-to-one, you know, with God and you, I mean, treat it like a relationship, the relationship that you have with Him. And that's gonna be, I don't know how you manage relationships. That's the way I do things. And at one point, you know, like, God is telling me, like, stop being silly, like, stand up and keep going, you know, keep going, because this is not the person that I raised. You know, this is God, right? You know, I didn't teach you to just, you know, become disappointed in life and that's it. You know, what are all these like promises in the Bible? Like, look at all these people in the Bible that went the hard way, or they, even when they were doing the right things. Look at Job, look at Joseph, Jesus, you know, the disciples, the apostles. Like, and you're complaining because things are not going your way. You know, so these are the type of conversations that I have with God, and or I used to have. But yeah, we can become disappointed at how the outcomes, and I'm pretty sure you had those especially in 2020. Like, things didn't go the way you wanted to. I'm supposed to be buying a house since March last year, and it hasn't happened yet, you know. And we're looking every week, everything, but we're trusting also God that, okay, if it hasn't happened yet, there is a reason for that, and you know better. And sometimes I just get disappointed and depressed and maniac. You don't know me. But because, I have a connection with God, and I study the Bible, and I pray, even though maybe I may not pray for one day or something. I can find that. I can find the hope. I can find the right message for me. If you don't read the Bible, or you're not familiar with God's words, then it's gonna be hard for you. At the first, like disappointment or bad thing happening, you're not gonna know what to think about this. You're gonna just think God is not helping me, or there is no point. I met a lot of people that they're like, I prayed for my grandma, or for my mother, or for this or for that, so she could get better, or something, and he died, and that was heartbreaking, and I can't do this anymore. I don't want a God in my life, because it's not making things easier for me. And it's hard. If you don't have that relationship with God, and you don't know Him, and you don't read the Bible, worship, you can do a lot of things that can uplift you. And if you don't do that, then it's gonna be harder for any of us to continue trusting God. So that's why we're always emphasize on, read, even if it's a psalm. When I was disappointed at God and frustrated, there was a dark time in my life when there were a few, but there was a real dark time, and it was just year after year after year, I was not getting in the program that I wanted to, and I was just wasting my life. I saw like that as wasting my life away. Like, I'm not getting any younger, and things are becoming harder. Anyways, life. And then I just didn't want to read the Bible. I didn't want to pray. But then I started reading the Psalms, because I was like, Psalms they won't tell me what to do. They don't tell me it's just a nice way of worshiping. So I was reading one Psalms a day, and that really helped. So just try, if you're in that stage, try maybe a song, listening to K-Love or some music station or Pandora. That will be somebody else expressing their love for God, and even though you're not doing it, it may help you to do it in a few days or weeks, or is preparing your heart. It may speak to you at one moment. Just, you don't even have to close your eyes. Talk to God and be like, I'm just disappointed, or things are not going the way that I want to. Just start that connection, because God is waiting for that. God is waiting for you to open a little bit of the door or the window or the chimney or anything in your heart, and He will come and He will fill you with His love. But if we don't give Him a hint, help Him to open that door, then He can force us. Let's read verse 12. Do not call conspiracy everything that these people call conspiracy. Do not fear what they fear, and do not dread it. And he continues saying, the Lord Almighty is the one you are to regard as holy. He is the one you are to fear. He's the one you are to dread, and he will be your sanctuary. So, God is here talking about fear. And when things don't go the way that we don't want to, or, bad things are happening to us, then we fear. We fear about the tomorrow. We fear about so many things. And God is like, please don't fear. Don't fear the things that other people fear. You're not like them because you have me. You can't fear, about, am I gonna lose my house or not? You can't fear about, am I gonna lose my health? Is my mother in the hospital gonna die? I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid of a lot of things. Failing. And God is like, don't be like the world, because the world fears all those things. But if you have me in your life and I'm guiding you, even death, you will not fear, because I overcame death. And that person that you see in the bed right now, guess what? You'll see her, you'll see him again in heaven, because I have the power, because I want to do this. So don't fear, because fear is for the weak. Fear is for the ones that don't trust me, that they don't have a relationship with me. They fear because they don't know. The devil is trying to tell them the world is everything that you have. The riches or fame, or even like living too many years, it's successful for them. But God's success is different. And the more we know him, the more we'll understand this. And I really like that he says, and he will be a sanctuary, but for both houses of Israel, he'll be a stone that causes men to stumble and rock that makes them fall. So he's saying, I'll be your sanctuary, but if you let me. But the people of Israel and the other people, they rejected me so many times, so I can't be their sanctuary, and they will have to pay the consequences of their own actions and the actions of their leaders or whoever they trust, because obviously they didn't take good decisions. They did everything the wrong way. Verse 18, here am I and the children the Lord has given me. We are signs and symbols in Israel from the Lord Almighty who dwells on Mount Zion. When men tell you to consult mediums and spiritists who whisper and mutter, should not a people inquire of their God? Why consult the dead on behalf of the living? To the law and the testimony. If they don't speak according to the word, to this word, they have no light of dawn. So in other words, God continues saying, like, please, stop trusting all these other things. Of course, I'm not gonna, I'm not thinking that you are trusting mediums or, that'll be too much. But I mean, if you did that in the past, I'm not judging, but there are other things that we, consult to, that we look for advice to. There are people we go after, things. We talk about all this in the beginning. So God is like, so are you gonna follow that, or you're gonna, consult me? I'm the creator, and I'm the one that is everywhere, and I'm the one that I know everything. It just, I don't understand. Like, for angels, like, I think they think we're dumb. So I have I live with my in-laws right now, and they have a little dog that We love him, but something is wrong up here. Like he's not like any other dogs. He doesn't, just you tell him how to. Yeah, I try to teach him things, and it's just so hard. Like he won't just do it. Like he likes to eat my bunny's poop. It's like, what are you doing? And I think like the angels see us that way. Like, man, those people like to eat poop. you know and for like we don't realize that, but when you start like you make a stop in your life and you think you know think about your life, your past, your present, your future, about what's around you, about the world, the other worlds, about the Bible, Jesus, God, like, it's like overwhelming, and you're like, what? How, like, am I living in like this matrix where I don't, like, it's so easy to know what to do, to know who to follow, and we're not doing it. No one is doing it. It's just crazy. You're like, this lady is cuckoo. I don't know. I already lost her. But I mean, I don't know. That's how I see myself in a few times, and that's how I see a lot of people in that area where like we just live, but we don't think how we are living and why we're doing things and how we're doing things and the purpose of things and how all this is going to end, right? We're so focused in the little things of today that we can't process the Bible information. We can process that there is a God here that is ready to help us, ready right now. 2 Corinthians 4:18. Okay, and it reads, so we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. You see what I'm saying? I'm not crazy. I'm not just talking nonsense here. Like, I can back it up with the Bible. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. It's easy for us as humans to trust what we see in our phones, what we see on TV, what we see on Netflix, what we see at work, at school, But what it's unseen is what we gotta trust, because that's gonna be forever. Okay? One more verse. And we're gonna go back to Isaiah 8:17. And I just want you to leave you with this thought, this nice verse. Isaiah 8:17. I will wait for the Lord, who is hiding his face from the house of Jacob. I will put my trust in him. Because that should be our prayer today. That should be our prayer tomorrow and always. We want to trust God. We want to wait in him. And I know wait is not a nice word for anybody likes to wait. If you know somebody that likes to wait, let me know. Something is wrong with that person. Or it's a saint. I will put my trust in him. So I invite you this week, put your trust in God. If you have a goal, if you have something going on, I don't know, if you go to school and you have a test, you have a project, you have a paper to do, or if you have a big project at work, or you're waiting for a promotion, or you're like looking into like different jobs, or you don't have a job and you're looking for one. I mean, that's happening everywhere. If you're looking for a house, for a new room, for anything, like if you're looking for the person that you're gonna marry for life, if you're like married and you're like thinking of maybe, you know, not being with that person anymore, if you're thinking of having children, I don't know, look, all the decisions I mentioned, like 20, and I'm pretty sure you have like at least 3,000. Trust God this week. Trust God. And if you can think of anything, you're like, I'm so boring, nothing is going on in my life, well, trust in God with your life. That's it. That's everything you have to say. That's everything you have to trust in God. I trust my life on you. It's boring. I don't know what is. I don't have excitement, or I don't have any goals. And as soon as you trust God, wonderful things are gonna happen. I hope you enjoy this lesson. It was a little different from the other ones, I think. I didn't really follow everything that the lesson was saying, but I think this is very important for us, because we're dealing with a lot of emotions, with a lot of situations, with a lot of things, and we're living also in this matrix where we don't think of spiritual things, we don't think of eternal things, and we gotta start thinking, getting into that mode, and that's gonna change the way you act in life, the way that you're gonna trust God, and your purpose in life. Okay. I hope every one of you is doing okay. I'll be praying for all of you, even though I don't know your names. And yeah, like the video, subscribe it, share a little love, because sometimes it's hard for me to do these videos. I'm like, what am I doing them for? But the first thing I'm doing for is because if I wouldn't do them, I probably wouldn't be reading the lesson, to be honest. So here I am, showing the example. See you guys next week.